Postpartum depression is something that doesn't make sense to most of the people out here until you're actually in the shoes of being a mother with postnatal depression. I've been there, and it is a sinking road to be in that situation. And that is why I decided today to come and share with you the few things or the many things that I have learned over this journey of parenting and parenting while still fighting and battling with depression. Welcome to the Collince channel. My name is Shifra, and let us talk today about maternal depression or postnatal depression or depression in general that most of us are suffering or have suffered. And if, by the way, if you are a first-time mother and you've never been told anything to do with depression, you will feel like the world is coming to an end when it happens to you. Now, basically, depression starts very easily. You start. Personally, mine started when I got to realize that I was pregnant, and I wouldn't say it as a depression per se. I later realized that it's depression after going through it. Because I started by feeling unappreciative of myself, feeling like I am inadequate. I do not, people would rather live without me, feeling like as though I am lost. I no longer knew who I was. I did not know what my purpose was in life. And I cried most of the time, and I had no reason as to why I was crying. I felt like hell was breaking loose, if that is a word I could borrow, Not being able to contain your emotions, not being able to go around what is going on in your life. Constant fear, anxiety of because with me it was more on how is this going to be? I was told I'm not going to be able to have a child. Now I'm pregnant. There are consequences I had been told that I would get when I get pregnant. So it was really quite a worrisome thing to me. There was a lot of worries that I had during that time of pregnancy. And somehow my husband stepped in and all the time and constantly reminded me of how important I am, how we are going to walk through this. And another thing I actually came to notice is that when you're, I don't know whether it happens to many of you, if you're married in a country where you're not born, then you get that homesickness when you get pregnant. I got that. I felt like I needed to go home. I actually told my husband about that, and he was like, no, I would want you to imagine that you are raising a baby in your tummy without me outside here. Our baby needs to have that attachment to both of us, even when they're still in the womb. And it was quite a battle for me and something hard to accept, because I felt like it would be safer at home where mom is. And then I really had a hard time making a decision to actually stay and accept that now, you know what, you're going to stay in a foreign country. I was actually worried of where I would give birth from, because my instances previously with hospitals around were not that good. So I felt like everything was strange and was unsafe for me to have our child being delivered. And then of course I was given reasons. If this baby gets born in Uganda, will he be Ugandan or will he be, And of course there are things that we had to discuss and come to an agreement. Others we disagreed to agree and agreed to disagree. But throughout all this pregnancy, my husband came in handy for me. Then came the delivery part. Now this is where I actually broke down later on. When I went to deliver, most of you have seen the story. If you have not seen the story, you will check the link above and be able to see our delivery story. But after that, this was trauma for me. Now this trauma came not only just like trauma, it now brought me into a hole of depression. I could not get hold of who I am anymore. I remember there were days when I would just, you want to cry and make noise, but you cannot because you do not want your husband to see that you're crying. You do not want the baby as well to feel that negative energy around them. So I felt like the safest place for me to cry was when I was taking a bath or when I was in the kitchen cooking, for the time I started cooking. And every time I would sit and be alone, I would have this constant feeling of loneliness. I was feeling deserted even when I had the most loving husband in the house and the most beautiful baby. I still felt emptiness and loneliness and not being able to identify who I am anymore. And because my birth was traumatizing, I got a lot of self-neglect, like that point where you do not care anymore about whatever is going on your skin or on your anything. It just feels awful that you're actually in a state, but you're not affectionate about yourself anymore, and you cannot do something productive and good, nice for yourself at that time. But one thing that really kept me moving was the support that I got from my husband and my mother-in-law and the few friends that came in handy. When I realized when you gave birth, you do not have so much of the friends. I don't know whether it happens to you out there. Like from the time I gave birth, I received less of the calls from friends I knew as friends that would communicate with me. You get that congratulations message coming in from many different friends, but then after the congratulations message, there is nobody who cares to find out how you are, how you're doing, how motherhood is taking you. I mean, even if they are those few that pop in and ask you that question, it's not like you feel as though they're just asking it for formality. They don't really care about how you're feeling at that time. And at the same time, you don't feel like giving out whatever you are feeling at that moment. Because, we are told to be strong, to be mothers. Mothers are ever strong. So even when you're having feelings deep inside you that want to burst out, you keep them contained in because you do not want other people to look at motherhood as something negative. Or probably you had a history of people telling you, oh, ulienda kama wewe ni mtoto, or you went into this marriage when you were still young, so you're a child giving birth to a child. We have different circumstances surrounding childbirth and pregnancies that might not be as positive as we wanted them to be, that are probably negative to the extremes. And when you get to this state, it feels like everything is a mess and you cannot hold yourself together. So how do you get to know that I am depressed? How do you get to know that I need help at this moment? I reached a point where I had to now sit down and tell myself, no, Shifra, this is probably how life is going to be, and you have to woman up and get to the task. Your baby needs to have positive energy from you. If you don't have the positive energy from yourself, then your baby will not get it anywhere. And the same was going to affect my husband and I, the relationship that we have as a partner. Because if you're always smiling to a person and they are always gloomy and sad, then your energy will become cold in due course. So I told myself I'm not going to keep this way. Let me try and mask up whatever I'm feeling, and probably somehow that is how my depression would go. Now, during that time where I was feeling all low and all broken down, I really didn't have anybody that was coming in to tell me, you know what, motherhood, or this is a section of motherhood. You know, we studied some of these things in school, where you taught about depression and how to handle it and how long it would take. I think my depression didn't even start immediately after delivery. That is what people would call blues, and it did not go to postpartum delivery of within the 8 weeks that people usually give. I mean, mine really came later on, and I think that is where the mistake is, because you're in this situation, you are depressed, it is way overdue, the time that is usually set for, depression. So it can even go even up to years, because even up to now, there are some sessions and episodes where I break down after recalling whatever was happening that time. I mean, it was awful, and every time I get to that point, I really break. So I feel like a very burning urge to share with a mother out there that probably is in the same situation where I was. You're crying every day. You feel like nobody is understanding you. You're doing and some of us, it's unfortunate that maybe when you deliver, there's nobody to support you at that time. So you really have a lot on your plate, being a mother, juggling between being yourself, you as a woman, being a mother, being a wife, being a mother, a daughter-in-law, being a sister-in-law. There is a lot of responsibility that motherhood comes with. And if you are not told these things, probably you will find yourself getting into psychosis, which is a very unfortunate thing. So that is why I came up to voice out these things that are here that could help you. What do you do when you realize that you're getting depressed? You're overwhelmed with thoughts. You're overwhelmed with this. My number one thing of doing things, I think the biggest percentage was talk about it. I really talked about my state, how I was feeling, to my husband, and he usually helped every time I talked to him. Just having a person listening to whatever you are saying it brings a sense of relief and makes you feel not left alone in the journey of parenting. Unfortunately, some of us do not have partners that we are talking to. What do you do then? Call a friend, call your mom, call anybody else you feel safe to share anything with that is concerning your state of mind at that time, because you don't want to see yourself heading into psychosis, and there is something that can be done for you to get out of this ditch. So that is one of the things. Seek for help. It could be your community that probably they have seminars of people talking about depression. Seek for help anywhere. And if you seek for it and get it, go for it. Because some of us seek for it, and when it's provided, we don't actually turn up. So try and work it out. The other thing that I realized was somehow came in handy. It is not really okay with my personality or my nature of me. I do not really want to have my weakest side coming out to the public. That is one of the things that I struggled with, and I still struggle with. But I noticed that one of the things that helped me during that time, if I wasn't able to share whatever I was feeling at that time, was get distracted. I get myself distracted. I do things that will distract me from whatever thoughts that I have, scary thoughts. Those are some of the things that actually in depression that people don't talk about. Sometimes you get thoughts. I remember there was a time when I would tap my husband at night to wake up and see whether our baby was breathing. Because I would constantly, and that didn't happen once, I would constantly be having thoughts of, what if our baby suffocates and dies? What if something is crawling on his face? What if, there are very many what ifs. And sometimes to other people, it's not actually about an external thing happening. It is thoughts of, what if I get to the kitchen and grab a knife and kill my baby, or what if I wash my baby with hot water. I was reading somewhere, and a mother washed their baby with very hot water so that they can remove all the germs, because somehow they had an obsessive compulsive disorder at that time, which had been due to postpartum depression. So they ended up, burning their own child without intending. So get things that distract you from yourself, from your thoughts, because it all begins with your thoughts. If you have positive thinking, then you will have positive energy coming out of you. If your thinking is negative, basically that is what will come out. That will all be negative. The other things that you can do is, of course, get help from the next or the nearest hospital that has a mental section unit, or that has a mother club that helps to support women that have depression. It is okay to not be okay. And that is one of the things that we are not told. It is okay not to be okay. Look out for help. Let your sanity come first in this season, because your baby needs you to be at par. Your husband needs you to be at par. Everybody else needs you to be yourself. So if you feel like things are getting loose on you, just seek for help, because there are professionals out there that are ready and willing to help you in that state, to actually diagnose it if it is depression. Because sometimes we are in a state where you don't actually know what is happening. You're just feeling low, you're just feeling sad, you're just crying, and you can't tell what the reason is. You don't actually have a reason as to why you are feeling that way. So it would help you to be able to get yourself diagnosed and put on therapy, given medication, depending on how severe your condition is. So I feel like all mothers deserve a bit of this knowledge. The other thing is sleep. Now, that is one of the biggest challenges, I think, to all new mothers, especially the first-time mothers. If you do not get enough rest, trust me, you will have depression in the long run. The reason as to why it is that way is because, of course, the depression that we read about, the blues and all those, come because of the hormonal changes majorly. And the hormone for sleep is also the hormone that helps us to control our anxiety. So if you do not have enough straight 8 hours of sleep, then you will not be able to escape this kind of depression at some point. Now, I know that is very hard because you're juggling between waking up at night to feed your baby and all this, but how do you do it? Try doing shifts. Yeah, take a nap when your baby is sleeping. Every time your baby goes to sleep, don't see it as an opportunity of washing the dirty dishes. Prioritize, my friend, prioritize, because your mental state is needed. It is important, more than the dishes that are piled up in your sink. So just give yourself some rest. And I think that is one of the things I came to accept, that I will not be as clean and as fancy as I thought a young mother will be. At some point, I had to reach and say no. Of course, this is not an excuse for you to be extremely dirty and have a dirty environment, but there are days when you will have to forsake washing, when you'll have to forsake all those cleanings of laundry and dishes for your sanity, So that is one of the things that you need to work upon. Have intervals, share who is taking the baby at this time so that you can have a nap and sleep at least adequately. Then the other thing is nutrition. Nutrition plays a big role in stress relief. If you eat very healthy foods that are well balanced, then you will have you will have no any other external things coming in. You can imagine yourself being depressed and then you get sick during, physically sick during that time. It can be worse. So you need good nutrition. Good nutrition will boost your breastfeeding. And talking about breastfeeding, it could be one of the causes maybe that you're having depression. Some of us feel traumatized when we breastfeed our babies. So try and see which option is. Of course, breastfeeding our babies is priority. I've always said that, even in the previous videos. But if it is one of the things that is causing you to get to depression, some of us actually got depression after stopping the breastfeeding process, because it is just like the same after pregnancy. Then all these hormones are up and down. The same thing happens even after we've stopped our lactation. So the hormone balances change, and somehow you will get into that state of depression. So nutrition is good. It will save you most of, good nutrition will save you most of these problems. Then the other thing is exercise. Please exercise. Mothers, it is not a must for you to go to the gym for you to exercise. Yeah, some of us feel like, no, I cannot do exercises without a gym instructor. There are simple exercises that you can do. Deep breathing, the Kegel exercises that mothers are advised every time we go for delivery, and probably you didn't get that chance to be advised. You will check my previous videos. There are Kegel exercises that I had posted that can be of good use to relax our bodies, relieve all the stress that is there. If you have a partner who can give you massage, please ask for it and you'll be given, and you'll feel better. If it is a massage session that you can have and can afford to have it, please do that, because you need your body to relax. Then have time for self. Now, this is very hard for us as mothers to have, because you're being a mother, you're being a wife, you're being this. There is a lot of responsibility, to the extent that we actually forget ourselves. Please do not forget yourself. You need it, especially if you're getting into this drowning depression cycle. Please give yourself time. Have time off. You love your babies. You love them so much. You are not a horrible mother. You are not a terrible mother. So please give yourself some time. Give yourself some time. And then the last thing, support. Kindly seek for support, for whichever kind of support, emotional support, the parenting support. Some of the things, we get stressed and depressed because we don't know how to become parents. But there are people who have been there before. They have been parents before, and there are people that we look up to, you know, who you think that they have the best of interest at heart for you. Look out for parental support from them. Learn how they took care of their children. Learn how they did their chores in the house to be organized and have babies at the same time. I mean, seek for that support. Of course, I had talked about the respite, having time for yourself. That is support enough. If you have time for yourself, doing something that you really love, doing something that brings back yourself. Adult and peer interaction. Interact with those parents, interact with your peers, interact with people that can give you knowledge about parenting, because we are not in this journey alone. There are people that have come before us. Sometimes you could be stressed out by simply a baby crying, and the problem could be colicky. You know, I had talked about colicky. If you have a baby that is going through the same phase, kindly check that link above and you'll be able to see how to manage your baby with colicky and get rid of the stress that comes with a crying baby whom you have done everything to, you know. So these are some of the things that you can do for you to have sanity in your mind. Go for therapy sessions if you can afford to. Therapy is not actually for the sick alone. It should be for every one of us to be aware of where we are in life, so that we can be able to assess ourselves and seek for help where need be. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I remain Shifra, the midwife. And if in case you have anything that you would want to know, kindly comment in the comment section below. And if this video has made an impact in your life, has made you happy, kindly forward it to a new mother that is around you and give it a thumbs up for us to be helped to get to the recommendations. Thank you so much, and we are here to make motherhood a joy to everyone, and I'll be happy to see mothers get a smooth motherhood journey because of me. Subscribe. Until another time, God bless you.